If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I used to be an au pair and I went through Rematch. Now, I found my family not through an agency, so when I went through Rematch, I was honestly really nervous. And I've talked about my horror story. You can click here or here to learn about what happened with me as an au pair. But today I wanted to talk about about the specifics about why exactly I left. And I've put this video off for years now because I've genuinely been traumatized from this experience, and I'm a little bit nervous that my host family might see this 6 years ago. But you know what? Today I'm letting it all out there and I'm telling you the specifics of why I left my first host family and hoping that maybe it can help some of you who are just not vibing with your host families. So first, I want to talk about what my host parents were like in my first host family. My host dad was technically American French, so he spoke perfect English, and my host mom was Tunisian French, so she spoke English, Arabic, and French. I was watching or in charge of 3 kids who were 5, 7, and 9. And the 9-year-old spoke really good English, the 7-year-old, it was coming back with me, and then the 5-year-old, it was also coming back because they used to live in London. So my role was really to just keep their English intact and catch it before it disappeared forever because they were living in Paris when I was with them. And the fact that I didn't speak any French really helped them out. What my host parents were like, I wouldn't say that they were like the warmest people ever. I also had a nanny that I worked alongside who took care of the infant for this family, and a butler, and cleaners in the house that also worked with us. If you don't have the idea already, like the level of wealth that I was working in was quite high. Like my host kids would only wear branded Dior, Givenchy, whatever, brand clothing, and they were kids. So like when we went to Morocco, we flew on a private jet, and it was just a lifestyle that I personally was not comfortable with. Like I didn't grow up with money, so just seeing that there was like a private lounge for these people and security and all of these things just was a humongous, not only a culture shock, but like a lifestyle shock. The dad always worked. He had his own hedge fund. He was out all the time, and he would fly back and forth if we were on vacation in Morocco or in Spain on a private jet to see us on the weekends. Like the level of wealth was incredible, and I just never saw my host dad. We didn't really have a relationship. They had plenty of au pairs and nannies in the past that had come and gone, so that was just like another sign that living with this family was just kind of, it was very much that I was a worker, not a part of the family from the get-go. And that was kind of like really upsetting to me because I was really hoping to get a second family in France. My host mom was studying to be a lawyer at the Sorbonne, so she didn't really have time, and she was really like studying and really wanted me to entertain the kids. It felt sometimes like I was a dancing monkey in front of the kids, just trying to get them to not disturb their parents who were really busy working. And I completely understand that parents have lives and they're busy working, and this is like not out of respect for them. But for me, as a 19-year-old coming from a completely, like I had never been abroad before, never worked for someone before, it was just a lot of work and just not what I was expecting out of the au pair experience. And honestly, I thought that it was normal in the beginning, but it's not. Like au pairs don't have to work that much. You can find a family that you really vibe with. And for me, this family I just didn't get along with them and didn't really agree with their parenting style. My host kids, as I mentioned, I had 3 of them. They were really lovely, super smart kids, spoke a little bit of Arabic, English, and French, obviously. I love kids, so like I can truly say that I loved them and they had their special qualities. What was really hard for me in terms of my relationship with them was just the discipline, which is why I talk about this constantly on our channel. I feel like a robot sometimes with how much I talk about it, but I was really trying to find a system in place where I could be respected as an authority figure in the house. I always found that whenever I said no to something, the host parents would say yes. And so it completely undermined any authority that I had with the kids, which made it really, really hard. I also felt really weird yelling at my host kids. I just need to have something in place before I get to that yelling point. I just didn't feel like I was really able to find a system with my host mom. Like I tried like a sticker system. I tried a couple things before I actually pulled the plug and quit. but it really just felt like she didn't even have a system, and therefore there was no way I was going to get a system. And I even talked to the other people that watched the kids and like worked in the house with them, and they even made the analogy of having it be like une cage d'or, like we're around all these beautiful things and brand names, and we get to experience and travel with this host family, but it was kind of like a cage. Like you got to experience all these nice things, but for what, you know? Like I was working with kids who just didn't really respect me. One of them spit on me one time. It was a behavior that I had never seen before because I was so used to working with kids that were disciplined and respectful, I guess. And, you know, on me as well was my first time really being a nanny. So that's perhaps on my part, there was some sort of weakness there. And while they were lovely kids, they definitely had, I definitely had problems in terms of trying to gather some authority when it came to my position as a nanny, as a child carer. I want to talk about what my first 2 months were like because they were quite unique. I started my au pair journey during the summer, and like props to anyone who is an au pair in the summer and the summer only and has a good experience, because I would say that during the school year it is so much easier. Your kids are in a rhythm, they're in school half the day, but in the summer I spent a month with my family in Spain and then a month with them in Morocco, and then like a week in between that in the countryside of France, and I truly was watching my kids all of the time. We had worked out in our contract that I was going to ask for a day off if I ever felt like it, but like I wanted to impress my host family in those first couple weeks. I even asked for time off to like go to the gym in the morning, and then I felt like my host parents were subtly giving me, you know, a cold shoulder because I asked for a half hour off in the mornings. Like they would make me feel like I was being lazy. And as a result, I totally overworked myself. I never asked for a day off, and it became way too much. One time I was in the gym and my host mom came in and yelled at me for the fact that her kids were in her office bothering her and I was in the gym and I needed to be watching them. Like I was yelled at for taking that time to myself. So I really do think that I have examples from this past experience that prove that my host family just wanted me to work all the time. And even if they said that I could take a day off, I don't really felt like they meant it. And I've met families before that really truly mean and want you and understand how hard it is to watch kids and watch their kids and want you to have time and want you to take time off and want you to find a community outside of pairing. And honestly, my host parents could not give a crap about what I was doing outside. They just wanted their kids to be out of their hair and not bother them. As you can imagine, I spent my first 2 months on vacation with them, so there was no structure. I was with the kids all the time. I slept in the kids' room with them, so if they woke up in the middle of the night because they like, you know, wet their bed, I would have to wake up with them, or if they were scared, I would have to fall asleep with them in their bed. I don't even know if my host parents like realize how draining that was for me. Like surely they do, but I also couldn't communicate with the other house workers in the house because they only really spoke French. So it was just me, myself, and I going through these struggles, and I had no one else to complain to. Once I finally got to Paris, I was able to springboard some of my problems off of other au pairs, which helped me gather that this was not a normal experience that I was having. But seriously, working on vacations with your host family as an au pair is super hard, which is probably why I cracked at the end of the summer. I'm curious to know if you are going through this and you feel like things are going wrong, or if you don't vibe with your family, or you are thinking about rematch, or if you have rematched. Comment down below to let us know when exactly you felt like you needed to change. Why did you change? What were the signs and the red flags? And was it really just that your family was a bad family, or was it just that there are au pairs that could get along with them, it just wasn't you? Because sometimes it's not that you're a bad egg or they're a bad egg, it's just that the combination of you two together doesn't work out. My host family even told me that au pairs had come and gone, or nannies had come and gone before me. Like every 3 months they would go through a new au pair, and that is a huge red flag. Like if your family can't keep an au pair for like 10 months for the school year, then that's not on the au pair, that's on the family. Like why can't that au pair stay? Maybe it's impossible for her or him to work in the work environment that they're being provided. Based on how they handle their kids and all of those things that I mentioned, I kind of started to lose respect for my host parents. And I think that is truly when I realized that I was unhappy. and that I wanted to change, and I started looking at new host families. So I like made a new profile in Au Pair World. I made profiles on other websites. I was asking around with au pairs. I was on Facebook groups. I was on the ground, like looking in the American Church in Paris. There's a lot of postings on college or university campuses in Paris, so go in there and look if you're going through this. But seriously, being on the ground gives you a leg up because you already have a visa, you can interview and you can see these people in person and you can see your accommodation and feel out the families. That is so good. So look at it from that positive perspective because that's kind of what pulled me through it. But seriously, like after having lost respect and just being freaking tired, I was honestly really just exhausted. That is what led me to try to instigate a conversation with my host mom. And honestly, I think this conversation would have gone better if I had come in small steps. I kind of like threw it all out on the table, like, I'm just not comfortable and I just want to leave. Like if I had given her some like signs in that week leading up to that conversation, like, I'm really tired, I don't know if, like, I feel this, I feel that, always coming from I statements, like, I feel this because this is this. So a person can never deny your feelings, and if they do try to deny your feelings, then, like, what the heck? They're not good people. Like, you can't deny a person and how they feel. Be as honest and communicative as possible. My host mom just didn't react well. Like the next day she called me down, she sat me down in the kitchen or in the dining room and she used her lawyer skills to just like berate me, yell at me about how I wanted to be in business, how I wanted to go through business, like what a joke, how I wanted to write down my au pair hours. She took the paper that I suggested that I write my au pair schedule on and she ripped it in front of me and said that it would be a dinner table joke with her friends. Like that was truly, if I had any respect left for my host mom, that was truly the moment where I just lost all respect. Like who handles a situation like that with a 19-year-old woman who's never left her country before, like never done this before, and leaves a situation and handles a situation by just completely mocking and bullying her. Like, until I cried. She sat me down at that table until I cried. At first I was really strong and then I started like tearing. Who wouldn't? It was just completely mortifying and humiliating, to be honest. So after that, I told her that I would try to stay for a couple of more time, like a few more weeks, and just try to even this out, because she even said after yelling at me, but the kids love you, like, you know, I don't want to let you go. She didn't want to let me go, probably because she knew that it was going to be hard to replace me and hard to find another au pair that was going to take care of her kids, because her kids at this point were going through so many au pairs that it was hard for them to take seriously anyone that came in to take care of them, because they know that this person is probably going to leave soon. Finally, after 2 weeks, I looked at her in the eyes and I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And she like felt it and she was like, okay, fine. And so that was when I was really able to start looking. Honestly, that was such a weight off of my back, and I wish that I was more clear and I had just made the decision sooner instead of waiting for her to make the decision for me. Should you look for a host family before you decide to leave, or should you wait? And I think it's a mix of both. If it's an urgent situation, then try to find a hostel, try to find someone in our APOP community, become an APOP member to find the people that are near you, go to aupairauPairs.com to find all those resources. But if you are in an urgent situation, try to lean on other au pairs to find backup accommodation, and then you can make the moves faster to try to get out of that situation. If it is a real emergency, like you're not being treated well, you're being abused, get out of there now. Who the hell cares about leaving them behind? Like, leave them now. But for me, I think that I went through it to the best way that I could have, which was I kind of was perusing families online and I wasn't very serious about it. And then I pulled the plug and I at least had my profile written and had all these tools done so that I can go full-fledged into the au pair host family search. I think it's okay to look at families before you actually quit, but make sure that you start to make those, if you're not sure if you should quit or not, at least tell your host family that you are tired, that you have problems, so that it's not out of the blue for them when you do quit. When a family is left in the dust, out of the blue, they will do everything in their power to make your life miserable. And your life is already miserable and awkward when you're going through rematch, so you know, anything that you can do to make your family treat you better. It sucks that it happens this way, but anything that you can do to kind of like just make the situation more calm for them will help you get out of the situation better. I have a friend in Paris who also had a horror story like me, and her host parents even threatened to call the French government and get rid of her visa. Like, it's just gross, the level that these people stoop to, and know that they can't take away your visa. You have a visa in your passport and you have the right to find a new family. Don't worry, no one is going to deport you or track you down for finding a new host family. Let me know if you've enjoyed this video and seeing this honest reflection of what happened to me as an au pair. It's a really hard story to tell. It's really hard I try to focus on the positive aspects of au pairing, but it is true that this stuff just happens. And I meet people all the time that this happens to, and it sucks. But you know, you can get through it. I got through it. We have the APOP community now who will help you get through it and know that you are not alone. So please like, subscribe, comment, and go to aupairaupairs.com to find out how to become part of this community and become an APOP member. I hope you have a great day and this helped you in some capacity. Ciao, bye.